Jerome Corsi, one of the Swift Boat guys, one of the guys that launches all these conspiracy theories, but respected in conservative circles by some conservatives and not by others, writes for WorldNet Daily. Well, he's got a breaking story on the Fort Hood shooter. The story is titled "Shooter Advised Obama's Transition." So apparently, the shooter in Fort Hood was an advisor to Barack Obama's transition. That's interesting. It turns out he says that he is a signatory to George Washington University's Homeland Security Policy Institute paper, and it's called Thinking Anew: Security Priorities for the Next Administration, and that Obama White House asked for this in their transition team. So, like Bill Ayers and Reverend Wright, et cetera, of course, the Fort Hood shooter, one of the advisors for Barack Obama. Now, who believes this? Okay, look, before I tell you the rest of the story, you conservatives out there, you're with Jerome Corsi, right? You're with WorldNet Daily, right? You believe this stuff, right? So go ahead, raise your hand. You're with this guy, right? Okay. Now, what does it turn out? Turns out, of course, he wasn't part of the transition team. He was never even remotely hired by the White House for any of this. That papers like this are submitted all the time for any transition team. And they asked for paper from George Washington University. They got a paper among many, many, many reports, and that he did have his signature on it. But you say, aha, see, Cenk, you're trying to ignore that part. So they called George Washington University and they asked, so did he take part in this little policy paper for you guys at this presidential task force here? And they said, yeah, no. As part of the transparency, what we have to do is put the names of all the people who show up at our events. He RSVP'd for one of the events, so we had to put his name down as, here's a guy who attended something we put together. He was in the effing audience. So, aha! While hundreds of people talked about national security at different places doing different papers, one of the meetings was for this particular paper, and the Fort Hood shooter happened to be in the audience. Barack Obama, transition advisor. See, I mean, this is how they make crap up. And I feel sorry for you if you believe this stuff. But why do they do it? And this is the important part. Jerome Corsi, does he really think he was a transition advisor to Barack Obama? Of course not. I mean, he says it in his own report. He's like, well, technically, you know, you can't really call him an advisor because it's just all it is his name appears in the report. But nonetheless, it's at least in the report, and that report once went to the White House. So he knows. He knows. Why is he doing it? Because this is going to spread around to all the conservative websites, and then people aren't going to remember where they heard it. They're going to say, yeah, I heard that Fort Hood guy, that Muslim guy, was Obama's advisors. Yeah, I heard he was one of his top advisors. Right, yeah. No, see, that's the thing, man. This guy's got all these terrorists who are advising him. Ayers and Hassan and all these guys. Yeah, that's how Obama is. They just want to inject it into the bloodstream so that the rumors spread around. Later it gets disproved. Who cares? It's already out there. And it's already got into a lot of people's head. And then when the crazy nutjob who read this and believed it because he's so damn stupid goes and tell all of his neighbors, some of his neighbors who are well-meaning, intentioned, but they're not that into politics, when they go to vote in 2012 or they go to vote in Congress or something, they think, didn't somebody tell me that guy I like, Hank, down the street, didn't he tell me something about the terrorists being with Obama? That's their objective. They're known liars, man. That's this Jerome Corsi guy. All he does is make up stuff about Democrats. And anybody taking this guy seriously, I mean, this guy appears on mainstream media shows. I mean, after something like this, if you don't ban this guy from your shows, well, then who are you? You can get the lunatic off the street. Why don't you get the homeless guy up on CNN's studio or Fox News, of course, who has had this guy on multiple occasions, and be like, oh, yeah, I heard Obama's with the aliens. That's next. You don't think they're going to do it? Watch, at some point.